Hello and welcome back to another episode of Not a Minimum Viable Podcast. I'm Rudy, and this is the show where we dig into how tech companies actually get built, sold, and scaled, one problem at a time. Today, I'm joined by Archit. Archit spent the last decade building go-to-market engines from scratch. He's been the head of growth at companies that he's helped scale from seed to Series B. He's co-founded and grown his own startups, and now he works with early-stage B2B companies, helping them build out their own go-to-market systems. Archit, thank you for coming on. Why don't we begin with a quick version? Could you tell us a bit about who you are and what you are working on?
Cool. No, thanks, Rudy, for having me. Yeah, I think you've mentioned it pretty well. For the last 10 years, I've been a founder slash operator, predominantly been involved in um, the go to market side of things. As a founder, sort of leading it at a high level, building teams, building systems, and then as operator, doing all the hard yards from scratch, understanding what really works, right from the very early stages of finding who the right ICP is, what is the right price point, what's the right channel, what's the right market, um, and then all the way to sort of building teams from there, scaling it and launching in multiple markets. And now in today's AI world, I've now evolved into sort of doing all of this through AI native systems. So that's sort of been my overall evolution as an operator in the GTM side of things.
That's great. So I want to begin by actually asking you about the very beginning of all this, right? Which is like the gist of the problem that I initially approached you with as well.
Yeah.
I think that going from zero to your first million in enterprise B2B is arguably one of the hardest times or the hardest stretch when it comes to building a company.
Yeah.
Most startup advice of like, build fast, fail fast doesn't quite apply when your buyer is like a vice president or a VP at a Fortune 500 and the deal takes 6 months, 10 months to come through. So let's start there. Why is it that the 0 to 1 million part is the hardest part? What makes it structurally different than everything that comes after?
Fundamentally, a lot of things. I think your product is not ready at that time. Your team is not ready. You don't know how to sell yet. So you're learning a lot of different things at the same time, right? You're learning what your customer, what your prospect ideally wants. You're trying to build a reputation in the market. It's easier for folks who have been inside, who come out with a reputation already, like relatively little easier, but for someone who's not been on the inside, trying to get inside, let's say the Fortune 500 market, in the VPs and above, over there, then it is a race of attrition in a way, right? Where okay, you've sort of you're reaching out to let's say multiple people within the same organization. You're trying to see okay what pitch lands. You're learning and iterating as it goes. So initially, the success rates are very, very less, and you need to be super patient with that. I think that's where we sort of lose a lot of our interest. We don't look at it from a, we don't gamify this enough. We take it very personally. Hey, we're sending out messages, nobody's replying. Is that a feedback on if I'm doing something wrong? If is that a feedback on my product is not good enough? I don't think that's the case, right? I think you need to think about it in more nuances. Maybe your message is not landing. Maybe it's not the right time. Maybe it's the wrong person. Maybe it's the wrong category. It's the wrong channel. There can be so many different things. I think so. The best operators who I've met are able to understand that on day -1. They have that nuance. They've got some experience of selling into this market. So they are patient. They are building systems from day -1. And then they keep taking feedback. Even small movements are indications that something's working now, right? So now we need to solve for other things. And so, yeah, I think it takes time to sort of solve for all of these things for one end-to-end sort of layer to work out. Even for just getting one reply, it takes time, right? Like a positive reply to then move to the next meeting. Okay, now what happens in the next meeting? Who are the other stakeholders in the company who will get involved? You need to learn all of these processes. And as I think you, as a founder, you need to look for unfair advantages. Unfair advantages will be with people who've been on the inside, who understand this inside out, who've got a personal network they can tap into pretty quickly, who are subject matter experts. So these guys go from a 0 to 1 very quickly, but people who are on the outside, who've not had that experience, young founders, then have to iterate very fast, have to be very data centered, have to be very system centered, and not uh, look for quick wins, especially if you're selling to the enterprises in a way. Yeah, yeah,
Okay, so I guess with this we sort of set the stage that enterprise sales is a very different game, and that getting to that first million is the hardest part. So now when we like dive a bit deeper into the playbook, you touched on a couple of things I want to get into over the course of this
hmm
episode. But let's begin at the simplest stage. You're a founder. Let's say for now you have got a product, and you need to go
hmm
and land your first enterprise deal. You don't have an established brand just yet because you're so early stage. No
yeah.
case study. Nobody's heard of you. So let's talk a bit about how you actually do that. You mentioned that sometimes people have that internal connection into those companies directly, regardless of how it came forth. But more often than not, people don't have those existing relationships. So
Right.
could you talk a bit about what that sales motion looks like for both of those? One where you do have that connection, and one when you have no brand, no case studies, and more importantly, no referrals. How do you then approach that?
Yeah. Yeah, I think so. I think it's a different ball game. Both of them very different ball games. The other one, the latter, is extremely is going to be difficult. You are up against it. You are up against a lot, right? Now over there, what generally works out is you're not selling anything. You're coming for advice. You're coming for genuine human to human advice. Hey, you know what? I'm building something. I'm an aspiring founder. This is my background. This is why I'm building this. I would love to get a feedback from you. Do you have like 5 or 10 minutes? We'd love to jump on a call. Or you know what? I live just next to your office. I can come over for a coffee at a cafe downstairs. Can I just get 5 minutes of your time when you take a coffee break or a lunch break? Would love to show what I'm building. Would love to get your feedback so I can take it back to the market, right? These are the conversations that help you get those initial conversations going. You can't be selling straight to the enterprises. It never works out, right? On the contrary, I would say get some logos, even if they're small logos. That builds confidence to the enterprise folks that some of the people are using them already. He's not going to make me the guinea pig over here because someone has to be your guinea pig. You nobody has ever built a first version of the product that doesn't require a guinea pig, right? So that's the playbook I've seen be successful. It's more a human to human conversation. You're going for help. Out of 100 people, 10 people will help you, right? And so use that. Out of those 10 people, two or three might be interested in what you're building, might feel the same pain point which you're going for, and would say, hey, listen, by the way, do keep me updated on how the product is going, and I would love to see the next version of your product based on my feedback. So now you have an in with him or her, right? Now there is a vested interest for them to follow your journey as well. And now you've figured out that you're building something interesting, right? So now that is your signal, which instead of selling, you got through a very genuine human to human request, right? So that's the latter part. The initial part is a little more straightforward, where you already know that this is a pain point. So you don't need to go through all of this, right? And now you have gotten in where there is an audience or a seat on the table already. So then over there, it's more about, hey, listen, I've been part of the system. I know this person. We've spoken about it. We've built this out. Then it becomes a proper presentation, a pitch, trying to understand, hey, is this genuinely is this the right time? Is this the right setup? I've proven this before. So I think you're setting up credibility over there. Is the credibility already established because you know someone, you are in the room? Maybe yes. That makes it even more easy. So you have to solve for basic things. You have to solve for trust. You have to solve for their pain point, and is the timing right? And do they have the budget for it as well? So you're solving for four things essentially when you're selling something to someone, right? And in the first part of what you described the scenario, I think a lot of that is already established. In when you don't have anything going, you need to start from scratch, right? So you need to see whether I'm clicking all the boxes or not, and it generally takes a longer time. So it's up to you then. A lot of what I've seen is founders then start selling a little bit to SME and mid market as well, just to sort of get the feedback flow going. But at the same time, the focus should not drift that, oh, you know what, I'm getting this dopamine hit of selling to SME or mid market. I might just stick with that. I'll forget about the enterprise. I don't think that's the way to go. You just treat it like, okay, you know what, my first 10 customers, and like live real feedback will come in from these 10 customers, but my main market is always going to be enterprise. So my motions are always going to be for enterprise. I'll play the long game over there, but I'm going to get my initial feedback and logos from here. So I'm building some credibility.
I
If
actually
one
want to
of,
touch on that
yeah,
a little bit.
yeah,
The term enterprise, people assume it to mean like the massive companies, like the Googles
yeah, yeah,
and the
yeah,
Ciscos
yeah.
and all that. But a lot of the times, the smaller and mid market firms also technically fall under enterprise because they are businesses, right? So selling to them
Mm-hmm.
would fall under
Sure, sure,
B2B.
sure.
So even though you are right in that it does make sense to set up those quote unquote guinea pig deals and whatnot, there is a sales motion that you need to follow for those smaller and mid-sized companies that
Yes.
varies so much more than what you would use with the larger companies. Could you speak on a bit of that,
I think
perhaps?
it's similar. It's similar. It's just that to the smaller companies, you might want to speak directly to the founders or the leadership team over there. You might have some network or something. Again, I think the idea is you go same. You're looking for design partners. You're not looking for customers initially, right? So you can always be like, listen, again, I'm building something like this. Is this a pain point for you? I think you have to test your thesis. You're testing something through you have to always look at a play when you're reaching out to someone. Okay, I'm going to reach out to these 100 people. This is my thesis. I'm not selling anything, but I'm trying to see if these guys, if they reply to me, then okay, this might be interesting problem for them to spend that 10, 15 minutes of their time. If I get zero replies, it means it's not an interesting problem for this set of customers, potential customers. So now I need to change my set of customers and go to someone else. Maybe this might be a problem for these guys. You need to come back to the drawing table if you're not getting any feedback. I think so that is how I feel. Again, multiple things again, right? So you have to go through the same process. The only thing is the cycles in the smaller companies less than 100 people, less than 10 people, less than 50 people will be a lot smaller. In 1,000 people companies, you might not get the founder directly. You might have to then go through a director, a VP, someone like that. And then through that, if the founder is still involved in the selling process eventually, then you get over there. But then you have to navigate the stakeholders as well. So you need to figure out, do you want to really spend time over here initially? Or you want to get feedback on your product and move your product to a point where then if you spend time on all of this, it's going to give you some results. Again, so that's a balance founders need to find. Ideally, that's when you would rather want to go to your immediate users quickly, get feedback, start landing them, and then slowly start navigating the internal teams, the internal structures of slightly larger companies overall.
Got it. Got it. Let's move on to the next step, right? You've
Yeah.
gotten that deal at that point, whether it's with the larger company or the smaller one. What does that first enterprise deal actually look like? Is it always a pilot? Is it always a design partner? How do you think founders should go about structuring that?
Yeah, so I think there are few um, pitfalls which I would advise founders not to go for. I think everyone would, if anyone gets to know that they are the first ones, whether it's a big company or a small company, they would always want a free trial, right?
First ones
Um,
in what context?
generally, if somebody understands that you are a very new company, you don't have any customers, the idea in the market generally is you are a design partner and you want a free. People
Okay.
will generally, if someone gets lucky, they might not be asked, but in general, I've always been asked, can I try it for free for a month, and after that we can look into if you want to pay for the tool or not. That is not a good signal for you. So you should say no for that, right? Because if somebody is asking to use it for free, it's not a big enough pain point for them. That's straight away a big red flag in terms of that's not a good validation for you. Don't just give it for free because you think they might use it. Free can be a plan in the future for you to scale your business, right? But free is not a way to start your business overall, right? So you're looking for people who are willing to pay, spend their time, give you feedback. Um, and so these are the kind of people you're looking for initially when you're launching your product, when you're finding your first one, five, 10 customers. You need their time. It has to be a personal pain point for those users, right? And there has to be some money on the table as well that they are paying for that. So that how much is that vitamin cost for them? right? How much is that tablet cost for them? That's a understanding you will gain as you talk to them as well. Like a lot of, I'll give you a very quick example on, you would know Shopify and the
Yeah, of
Shopify
course. Yeah.
ecosystem, right? Shopify comes from Canada as well. Um, Shopify App Store, there's a very clear strategy on how you launch apps on Shopify App Store. It's now a playbook. A lot of people who are seasoned app builders or app launchers know, right? You start at a $9 pricing. You see if there are enough people who are buying the $9 app. There is some pain point. You're solving something for them. Then you increase from 9 to 19. Then you increase from 19 to 29. Then you go 49. Then you go 99. You go 199. You keep pushing it until you see suddenly nobody is buying it anymore. So that is easy because these are smaller merchants. The merchants, it's an app store. You're not doing one-to-one selling over there
Right.
in
It's also in a
general.
very
But in
structured environment. So it kind of it lends
exactly,
itself to that really easily.
yeah. But then you can do it in an unstructured environment as well, is what I'm trying to say, right? When you're doing human-to-human selling, you can always see my first deal, for example, I signed for $999 a month. My next deal, can I pitch for 1499? Am I getting a yes for that or not? Right? If I'm getting a yes for that, maybe that's great, right? 999 was a good validation for me to see that somebody is paying for my software. In the next one, I'll do 1499, then I'll go 199. So that's how founders find what the right pricing is as well. And that takes time as well, right? So in
Yeah.
general, what I'm trying to say is your early customers, you can do all of these experiments with your first 10, 20 sort of players. Don't sell it for free. Free is a strategy to scale, is what I'll advise people for. Yeah,
Got it.
yeah, yeah.
But how do these things factor in when the buyer has more leverage than you? So like in the case of like, the first design partner, for example, I've heard people say that sometimes they drop in like a design partner discount into the contract
You
that
can,
disappears on renewal and all that.
yeah, yeah. I mean, you can give discounts, you can term it that way, but nothing is for free, is what at the end of what I'm trying to say, right? So you can always be like, hey, listen, um, for the first 3 months, um, for my first 10 customers, for example, whatever, 10 customers, for the first 10 customers this quarter, I'm going to drop a 50% discount. It's the same thing. It's you trying to find what the right price is for that stage of your product. The initial stage of the product, the price might be $99 only. But then the version 2 of your product might be 499, right? So you need to find that the way you want to convey might be, okay, you know what, my pricing is actually $500. For the very first 10 customers, I want to give a 90% discount today. And I'm going to give you at a $49 or a $99, whatever the pricing is. So that's okay. I mean, you can use that terminology. You can understand what that human wants at the end of the day, right? And if you're okay with it, if you feel like even if you ship it for a 49 or a $99 a month, you can still make do with it. It's important to get, this is the right person. If it's a big enterprise and he's saying, I want to give $49 or something, then you might need to rethink whether this is the right guy. If you feel like this particular product, let's say there is a player in the market who's selling something for $10,000 a month, and your design partner is saying, I want to pay only $99 to you, then you need to rethink. Because now you already have a benchmark in the industry that, okay, people are paying something. Maybe he's not the right guy then. You need to find the right guy. And not everyone is the design partner as well. So that's where founders get it wrong. I've gotten it wrong multiple times, where just because I wanted quick feedback, I was willing to sell to design partners who were not actually the right design partners, right? I think so finding
Yeah.
those design partners is also a time-taking process for founders.
Could you share maybe like a quick criteria about? I mean, obviously this varies company to company, but what are some of the signals that make an enterprise the ideal design partner or a good one to begin with?
Yeah, I think it's a learning process. Obviously, you will have a thesis around what you're building. You'll have a thesis on who you're building for, what is the pain point you're solving, what stage of the company are they in, what maturity, what is their internal tech stack, who are their customers, if it's a B2B product, right? And then, so basis of that, then you start seeing some patterns evolve, right? You will start understanding this is their tech stack, this is their current stage of the company maturity, this is my user over there. And from that user, what are they currently using? Are they even using anything? Are they doing it manually? Have they vibe coded something? Are they using a competitor? What are they doing right now? What is the current state in that company, right? Is that even, or have they deployed a person? Have they hired a full-time person for that, right? So you need to figure that out. If they are very comfortable, who is that guy? Like, not everyone is going to be an early enthusiast, right? So what I have now learned in the last few months is you always have signals on companies who have that DNA of trying new things out, right? So today, finding design partners is getting easier as we go about it. Like in Silicon Valley, for example, there are companies, large companies or enterprises, who we call enterprises. A lot of these founders in YC, A16Z already know who will be your first customers in these big enterprises. DoorDash is someone who is renowned to be wanting to test out new things.
Got it.
There are multiple of those companies in the market which founders exchange notes with. So, I mean, there are various ways for you to figure out you are on the right track. There are some companies who are notoriously known not to be the early adopters. They will wait for someone else and become an early adopter after that, right? So, I mean, it really depends on the DNA. So, you need to do a little bit of background research around who you're selling to, who's that person, stuff like that. And you would know that, okay, this guy would really want to test a new technology out. It's a big enough pain point. Again, if it's not a new technology, if it's not a frontier tech, you're solving a simple problem for someone, you have to figure out some background on those guys. Has this guy tried new softwares? Is he or she into new things? Would he be willing to? I mean, you have to get that personal sense, according
Yeah.
to me, as
I
well.
know
Yeah,
it sounds
yeah,
like that process is eerily similar to what founders go through when they're defining an
yeah,
ICP in the first place, right?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So just moving on from there, right? Assuming you've gone through that motion, you've set up a couple of contracts, you have some design partners. How do you know at that point whether you've just gotten lucky with a couple of buyers or if your sales motion is working? Like, what's the signal that what you have is repeatable?
I think then you need to start figuring out if there is something which can be put in a system, and can you get repeat, is it repeatable or not, right? Let's say if LinkedIn, for example, is a channel which, let's say, you landed your first 5 design partners or 10 design partners. It took you 1 quarter, let's say, to land 10 design partners. What's happening in the fourth month now? Were you able to land some new design partners or new customers on top of what you landed in the first 3 months? Does the same process work for you again? Are you using a database, enrichment platform, outreach method, a messaging? Like, you have to sort of create a system over there and see, okay, will this now work on 100 other companies similar to what these 10 companies were? Can I get 100 others of these? Can I get their competitors, right? Lookalikes. Can I get someone else? Is this landing on these guys or not? I mean, if it starts landing, if you're getting meetings, okay, why is it not converting? Something is working over here, it means, but I'm not converting. What is it? Is the product not mature? So you will get your answers. But at least if the system is giving you results, you're getting meetings, the same message is landing to people, they are resonating with the problem, you're on to something already now, right? So that is your signal that, okay, you can now move beyond your design partners. You figured something out. Now you have to scale it up. Yeah, maybe you figured one channel, which is LinkedIn, but LinkedIn can only do so much for you. How can you now go to other channels as well? What can be other channels that might work for you? So then the questions change for you overall. Yeah.
So in this process, at what point does the founder actually themselves stop doing the selling, right? Like, I guess what are like the prerequisite conditions that need to be met before you hire that first salesperson?
Founders should never stop selling, but founders' role is to sell all the time, right? Yeah, I think you start reaching a point where at least you have a system in place where you can define it, and then you can add a person to 10x it, or something like that, right? Where you know that, okay, I have now become a bottleneck. My calendar is getting crammed up. I'm not getting time to get new meetings. It's not predictable anymore because I'm on 10 meetings a day, I'm on 20 meetings a week, and the next week is slow. Then I work on getting more meetings the week after, then the next week is slow. That is a time now when you need a new person so that you have 20 meetings a week every week, right?
Got it. Yeah.
And so it doesn't, if you're not able to automate it or something like that. Or let's say now there is more demand than you can meet, you need a sales guy now. with you, who's smart enough, who can sell with you, stuff like that. So these signals will be there for you on who you need. Do you need someone for demand gen? Do you need someone for sales? Do you need someone for marketing? What is your motion? Are people hitting your website now? Okay, more content needs to go. What can we do? Again, you have to define the motion that's working for you, and then basis of that, you then scale it from there.
Got it. So I guess now we're like venturing into this notion of like the GTM engine, right? What does the GTM engine actually mean in concrete terms? Like if you were to walk into a Series A or Series B company today, what are you actually building that ends up being their go-to-market engine?
Yeah, so I think at Series A company, these are the challenges which founders have faced and maybe hired early people to solve for those challenges, right? Where, okay, I've outgrown myself. I now need to build a team to be able to scale this. I have decent product market fit. My early design partners have now turned into paying customers. I have moved beyond my early design partners as well, and I'm now getting more customers. Um, I figured one channel at least. If it's inbound, inbound's working. If it's outbound, outbound's working. What channel in outbound? LinkedIn, email, something else. What's working? Is it on the field events that's working for you? Community led is working for you. What is working for you, right? You figured something out. It's repeatable now. Um, so then that becomes a system. Now, how much can you scale it? Can you add 10 people to that system? Can you add 20 people to that system? Is there a limit to which it will stop, right? What's the limit? Can you stretch those limits? So you've got one system that is built. Then you need to get into, okay, can we start figuring out something else that can add into that system as well? Something else that will work on top of it. And then that is something you want to scale. So it's always sort of reaching the limits of what initially worked for the founder, scale it to the max at a Series A stage, and parallelly find something else, because then Series B will not happen if you don't find something else. So you need to
I
now move from one system to sort of multiple channels, stuff like that. You need to figure out where your ICP is trying to find you. Now it's a known problem which you're solving. Yeah.
Depending on the channel, would it not break if the founder tries to scale it? Like with LinkedIn, for example, right? Like, how does the founder know if their LinkedIn channel is working because they're the ones doing the outreach from their account? And then when they try to scale it out, like, and have their salespeople do it, that does not work because the thing driving that LinkedIn channel is the founder themselves. How does it play out in those situations? Have you encountered something like that before?
Yeah, it's a very common thing, and I think multiple ways to solve this. One is you let someone else take over your channel. You are not the one sending it out. Someone else is managing your LinkedIn channel. You're using either an automation tool, or you have hired someone to run your LinkedIn channel. Can you now develop more LinkedIn handles in your company? Let's say you are a startup, you have got 10 people in your team. You've got, who are you selling to? Let's say you're selling to a CMO or something. Now, okay, let's say the first hire, can you give them a head of marketing role, or something like that, which the CMO likes to talk to, right? Or a CPO who's building the product, or someone, whoever is looking after the product, or your co-founder, CTO, or someone like that. Would they be able to, if we send out a message through them to a CMO, or whoever your audience is, would they be wanting to have a conversation with them as well, not just the CEO? So you need to figure out, okay, how many others in my team can I give good designations? You don't need to give them associate or intern designation over there. You can give them good designations. So at least perception is that, okay, these are people who are actually taking decisions. And ideally in a startup, they are making decisions along with the founder as well. And then from there, can you see, okay, what kind of language would my ICP want to speak to my CTO, or would my ICP want to speak with my product guy, or someone else, Can I give these designations? Can I hire someone who can mimic me, or do something like that? So yeah, I think that's another way to scale. So one LinkedIn handle is working. Can you scale it to 2 LinkedIn handles? Can you scale it to 3 LinkedIn handles, 4 LinkedIn handles, right? So then that's how you scale LinkedIn as a channel overall,
Got it. So
right?
does
Yeah,
this mean at the
yeah.
early stages it's always outbound heavy? Or
It
does it mean like the
it
moment
de-
it becomes inbound heavy, you've found some sort of like product market fit where people are actively
No,
looking
I
for the
think even
solution?
even and there are some companies who are always outbound. It doesn't
Hmm.
matter, right? There are some companies who are not very inbound. Again, it's a very founder DNA specific, right? I know some founders who were experts in SEO back in the days before AEO, GEO, right? And so the first thing they started doing while building the product was gamify the entire SEO thing. Started writing a lot of content, and then they measured their product market fit in terms of how many people are visiting the website, and is this a relevant pain point for them in terms of how people are looking for it. So for them to look at whether it's even a pain point, this their starting point was to look at Google Analytics, was to look at all these tools, Ahref, and all the other SEMrush and all these tools, and that was the starting point. For some other founders, it's about reaching out to people and figuring out if it's a pain point they have or not. So again, I think it's also a lot of founder DNA. I would not say this is a very generalistic benchmark. I think it's a very founder to founder thing. It's a very industry to industry thing. A founder who is very SEO savvy will build products for that audience by default. That's just how it plays out eventually, right? A founder who is very outbound savvy will always build products where the audience is looking for outbound only and they're not going inbound, right?
So whether
So yeah.
whether it's like outbound heavy or inbound heavy, does that have an impact? Just touching back on the previous thing we talked about like, oh yes, this founder should be having, I don't know, 20 calls a week before they hire somebody else. Do those things sort of?
It's the same. It's the same for me. I think even in inbound, then it's just taking too much time. You're getting too many inbounds. Then you need someone to qualify all of that, so that only the right ones reach you. And outbound, it's the same thing. So you've worked something out. Now you need someone to scale it, and then qualify it, and then take it to you, right?
I
So I
guess
think
does does that threshold change based on the type of buyer personas you're selling to? I guess like if you're selling
yeah.
into, I don't know, manufacturing, for example, does that threshold of what it means to have that like filled out calendar differ than if you were selling to tech companies, for
Yeah,
example?
it might. I think if again, it depends on the ACV for me then, right? Is the ACV big enough or not, right? So, how many calls does it take for you to close a deal from the first touch point to the last touch point? What's the ACV like? What's the selling process over here? If it's inbound and people don't even need to talk to you, great. Then you hire different kind of people. If it's an inbound, but they need to talk to you, great, you hire that kind of people. If it's outbound and you need to talk to 10 people in a company before a sell happens, then you need a solution engineer. Then you need account executive. You need a demand gen person. You need two other people, right? The team becomes a little more complex. I mean, so it depends, right? The ACVs might be bigger, have to be bigger. If you're going through so much pain to sell something, the ACVs have to be big enough as well. So again, you need to find that sweet spot as well as a founder.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Could I
yeah, yeah.
press you for some numbers around that ACV stuff? Like in like in the different types of go to market engines, whether it's purely founder specific or if it's with a team, what the ACV number is for a company, does that have an impact on how those things get structured?
Yeah, ideally, yes. So I think you take very simple examples, classic PLG companies where you don't necessarily need to talk to the sales team, or someone can just go direct, sign up and pay, right? Some examples, again, Shopify was one of the examples for a long time. They added an enterprise layer later, but they were initially selling to SMBs. You've got Canva, you've got Figma, very user specific. Their pricing sort of says that, right? They've got a freemium layer, they've got a $9 layer or whatever, right? So it's not the ECV is not worth having a conversation, or it's not worth where every customer needs to talk to someone before they end up paying or using the tool. Then you're selling the wrong thing for that small price point, right? Also depends on the market where you are, right? Um, so yeah, I think I would say like below 100, it has to be a product where nobody talks to you.
100K ACV.
No, no, not 100K. I'm just saying $100, right?
$100. Okay. Yeah, yeah.
For a subscription. Then if selling $100 product, you are going through a sales cycle and there is a contract involved and stuff like that, then you're sort of selling the wrong product in a way. Your motion is wrong. Unit economics might not work for you, stuff like that, right? Or you might want to look at, okay, where you're hiring that, whatever person you are, and if you still want to make it work, you then look at going upwards of that, right? Do you just need one sales call to close the deal? A 15-minute, 20-minute, 30-minute call, how many calls, such calls can that person take? Again, depends, right? So then maybe 100 to 1,000, you have one inside SDR or inside sales SDR or inbound SDR or whatever we call them, right? Can they then do the closure as well? They don't need to just be telling you about the product, but can they do the closure? That's great, right? So you then start sort of looking at that. Anything above, for me, anything above 50K or 100K is where you need to start having a little bit of solutions engineering sort of. You need to sort of do all of that. You need to have more mature team. You need to have AEs. You need to bring in your product team. You need to have a solution engineer. You need to do all of that. So I think in general, my sweet spot, what I've looked in the industry, ideally that should be above 25K per annum to 50K per annum above. If it's less than that and you're going through all of that headache to land a deal, then it might not be worth it for you as well. Ideally, go above 100K. Initially, it might be 50K as well. Initially, it might be 30K as well. That's okay. But if you know that you can stretch it to 100K and you're getting customers who are already paying you 100K, 200K per annum, then you are onto something. Then it might be that you're landing them through a 20K deal and then you're expanding. Then the motion is a lot of expansion sort of play as well, right?
Got it.
So you need to figure that sort of play, how it works for you, stuff like that. Yeah.
I realized we were tossing around terms like ACV. So for those listening, ACV stands for average contract value. And I forget if there's any other terms we used. ICP is ideal customer profile.
Yeah.
Is there anything else that I might have missed?
LTVs are lifetime values. Inbound SDRs, do we need to explain? Is that explainable or?
SDR, salesperson. Yeah, I think somebody
Sales, yeah.
handling sales.
And inbound is they're only handling leads that are coming in. Outbound is they're generating their own leads as well. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so now I want to pivot slightly and talk about, I think you mentioned right at the very beginning, right? So we've talked about this whole notion of this playbook, how you land that first deal, whether it's a pilot, whether it's a design partner, how to structure that, all the way to building up a repeatable engine. Now let's touch a bit about how AI is sort of changing how a lot of this gets done. I'd like to get your take on like what's real and what's noise in this. So, I mean, surely everybody who's been on Twitter has seen the like influx of AI go-to-market tools everywhere. Like clearly it's changing how people build these go-to-market engines, right? Like what's in your opinion, what's one thing that's different, that's genuinely different now than it was a year ago or 2 years ago?
Yeah, I think what's happening is it's making it more difficult for you to sell things now, right? The market is generally more crowded. The same person is being attacked by multiple more people. Everything is becoming a commodity in a way where even a VP of an enterprise might be getting attacked on email, LinkedIn, everywhere through thousands, through most of your competitors, right? So now getting attention of that person is not as straightforward as it used to be before. But at the same time, what has changed is now you can actually figure out what's the right time to reach out to them, right? And now you can figure out what are the right moments when someone like that ICP or who you're selling to might need you. You can get into more nuances today. And I think today is the time to hit the person at the right time, at the right channel, with the right message. Today is all about being extremely precise, and AI helps you be extremely precise as well. A lot of people are using AI for scale. That, okay, I hit 100,000 people through AI, SDR, I hit this, I hit that. But I would use it for the extreme opposite, which is being extremely precise. And can I learn how to be precise and then scale that, right? I think so. what AI has unlocked and for what you needed a lot of people before is that, right? Scraping has become very easy. Um, Building intelligence around your ICP has become easier. Building a system out where your SDR now has a lot of information around what he or she needs to talk to with your contact. Why are they talking to? They just don't need to pick up a phone and randomly call anymore, or randomly send out LinkedIn invites anymore. I mean, time it, yes. I mean, these things I would say AI has enabled. And a lot of that I see as AI improves might start to get automated as well. But for me, what has truly changed is that exact thing that I hope in the future our inbox is a lot less noisier, are not filled with a lot of these emails or a lot of these messages that we get on LinkedIn, and are very precise, and people know exactly when we need something, they're sending us something, and that conversation becomes a lot better and easier. But yeah, I think again, there will be pros and cons, but I would rather believe that humanity chooses the right way to use AI in selling, and we use it the right way. But AI is actually giving you that option, and I'm very, very hopeful that we will choose the right option over there. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Let me twist this around a little bit, right? Like when people are, now that AI and all these like coding agents are so prevalent, doesn't it make selling so much harder in the sense that you have this product that you've built out over the past like 3 4 months, even longer perhaps? You're trying to sell it to a different tech company, a developer, a VP in a larger
Yeah, yeah.
company. Now, so much more than before, they're like, I can just build this with AI, right? So what's the point of me having to shell out money to this other company, to you, when I can build this internally? How do you navigate around that?
Yeah, I mean it's always been that, right? SaaS has always been it's always been a question in SaaS even before AI as well, that hey, I can do this myself. Again, depending on whoever you were talking to, I've always faced those questions pre-AI era, post-AI era, all the time. It's the same thing. So listen, we are just focused on doing this. This is all we do. We've got 10 people doing this, 20 people doing this. We'll maintain it, we'll evolve it. We're getting feedback from hundreds of these people. The right customer will pay you. The wrong customer will think he or she can build it by themselves. That's not a reason for you to not go ahead and do things, right? Yes, the market is a lot more noisy. Hence, you need to hit them at the right time with the right message. You need to know them personally. They need to feel a personal touch with you. The way you are selling is changing. Brand building is becoming important. You need to have a human to human connection. You need to find some ways. I think maybe before it was just about landing in the inbox or landing on LinkedIn. People were replying to you. Maybe today it's not going to happen. So again, it's becoming more nuanced. Um, Maybe the selling process involves multiple touch points at different channels today. Maybe earlier it was just one channel. So yeah, I think it is definitely difficult, getting more difficult in terms of the tactics that might work for you. But again, with AI now you can do so many different things. That's why the level has gone up, right, for the game. And people have stepped up. So you need to now step up even more comparatively. But again, I don't think you need 100 people to do that now. Maybe you still need the same amount of team. And AI can't automate everything today, which is being promised. But yes, I think tactically you need to be more aware. You need to be understanding, have more empathy for your customer now, or who you are trying to sell to, and try to be in their shoes. And imagine if you were that customer or potential prospect who or that buyer, for example, what are you going to go through when there are hundreds of people trying to reach you? How will you stand apart? So I think, yeah, today people are being very creative. A lot of consumer selling tactics are coming to B2B as well. Again, yeah, yeah.
What are some of those consumer tactics that you mentioned? Are they actually effective, or is it just like a way to just go viral on Twitter and LinkedIn? Is
Yeah,
that
I
it?
mean, yeah, so I think a lot of people are trying to go viral even with B2B tactics on channels which were very consumer friendly before, so that your buyer at least knows about you. And so when after that you land in their inbox, the likelihood of answering is higher over there, for example, right? I think it's all about getting that attention piece of attention, right? Whichever channel it is. If that buyer is sitting in a home with their kids at 9 p.m. on Instagram, and that is where you're able to get their attention, great. You need to be innovative now. Who set the boundaries are just LinkedIn? And it can't be TikTok, or it can't be X, or it can't be a TV commercial, or something else, right? Like, I mean, it really depends today. Can you send a gift, for example, a physical gift which they remember you for? Does that make sense? Doesn't make sense? I don't know, right? But again, can you be a little more innovative? Are you going to spend $10,000? What's the best way to spend $10,000 so that you get that piece of attention, and that person needs to think whether I want to go with this guy or not, right? I think that's the question in front of every founder slash marketer slash GTM person today. And so I would say I would solve it through a very first principle thought process over there, rather than trying to say these are my boundaries. There are no boundaries today in that way. Yeah, yeah,
Got it.
yeah.
Okay, one final question to wrap this all up. If somebody with zero sales DNA comes to you and asks for one piece of advice to get to their first 1 million, what is it? What would you say?
I would say divide that 1 million into how many customers. Try to get your first customer. Don't think about a million first. Then go to 10. Then go to 100. To land your first customer, try to be in the shoes of your customers. Understand how would you talk about that pain? Where would you try to look for it? How would you want to talk to that person solving that pain? Just be very empathetic. Solve it from a very first principle process, and yeah, I mean, just keep trying until you land something, and keep measuring it. Keep measuring the data. Don't be very data focused in terms of all the processes or every effort you're trying to do. Measure every touch point, and from there you will get your answers. Yeah.
Got it. Perfect. Okay, Archit, this is great. Thank you for coming on. For everybody else listening, if you got something out of this episode, subscribe on YouTube or Spotify and share it with a founder who's trying to close their first enterprise deal. I'll see you on the next one.
Thank you, Rudy.